Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Manipur has been reeling under ethnic violence for the last 1.5 years. But in the last 5 days, the situation has become extremely sensitive and extremely violent. Now, four militants and a civilian were killed in a fresh wave of violence that was reported from Manipur's Jiribam district, and this was on Saturday morning. Now, the civilian was killed inside his house, and this has led to a gunfight during which four militants were killed, and police have informed the district administration. In the last several days, there have also been reports of rocket bombs and drone bombs being used by the Kuki militants. In another political development which has just happened, Chief Minister Biren Singh, he met the governor last evening along with a few MLAs, and today morning also he met the governor. Now, what has really transpired? Is it a fluid situation? Will he resign? Why is this violence escalating all of a sudden? We'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is Professor Xavier Mao from the Northeastern Hill University. Professor Mao, thank you so much for joining. We have Suhas Chakma, who's the director of the Rights and Risks Analysis Group. We have Samir Purkaistha, who's a senior editor with the Federal. Both of you, thank you so much for joining. And I'll begin with Suhas Chakma. That Suhas, this cycle of violence which we are seeing in the last 5 days, followed by the meeting of the chief minister with the governor, do you think that this is some kind of a political escalation and a deliberate one? And if so, then what is the reason?
No, I think it's an attempt to save the skin by the chief minister because there will be lots of questions if the allegations are true that there were, RPG rockets launchers which were used to target certain areas. Then, if there were attacks on drones, of course, it's a very serious security issue because India had not seen this kind of attacks in the northeast, and you have in the neighboring states of state of Myanmar, government has completely collapsed. So there has to be some assessment with respect to these developments. I think the meeting which the chief minister sought and had with the governor yesterday evening and today, and if the press reports are to be believed, he sought, the complete control over the administration, basically on the central command, unified command, which he demanded. I don't think, these are things which will be given to him. So basically, he is trying to play it to the gallery that he is concerned, he has met the governor, and if there is anything wrong, it's the decision of the central government. So at least he has been able to assuage the sentiments of the Métis. So it has nothing to do with addressing the real situation, why the riots have started, why it is deteriorating. It should not come as surprise to anybody because no developments had taken place, practically speaking, except possibly both sides not trying to kill each other. They have never sat across the table, and there has not been any attempt whatsoever by either the central government or the state government, or even if they have tried, it has not been successful to bring the warring parties to the table. So it's basically an attempt to exonerate himself and to project himself as the hero of the Métis. Beyond that, I don't think anything happens. Rather, it poorly reflects on the Home Minister Amit Shah that you are not giving the responsibility to Chief Minister Biren Singh, and that is why the situation is deteriorating. So the fact that he demands that he should be given the complete command, or he should be put in charge, basically saying you are not doing and you are part of the problem. That's why these attacks are taking place. So indirectly, actually, it means that.
Right. I'll come to Samir now. Samir also has been tracking the situation in Manipur very, very closely. Samir, what Suhas is saying, and this takes me to the next question, that if Biren Singh is trying to take control of the situation as far as the law and order is concerned, he's trying to become a messiah of the Métis. What is the message he's trying to give to Amit Shah? What is he trying to tell Amit Shah?
See, Nilu, to answer to your question, first you have to understand what is unified command. See, unified command is not that it is for the first time this kind of unified command has been formed in Northeast. Earlier, we have seen similar kind of unified command structure wherein army is other central paramilitary forces like CRPF, BSF, and Assam Rifles, more importantly, and the state police. They work in tandem to check to better law and order. So and in this kind of structure, generally the chairman used to be the chief minister of the state. When there was unified command in Assam, the Assam chief minister used to be the chairman, because this unified command needs to work under the state government. But here, what has happened is that in Manipur, the center has appointed a security advisor in the form of Kuldeep Singh, who is former DG of the CRPF. Now, by doing this, the center has created kind of confusion. It is neither here nor there. So on top of that, the home minister, Mr. Amit Shah, has bifurcated the maintenance of law and order, by saying that hill areas will be controlled by the chief by the home ministry, whereas the valley areas, the Meitei dominated valley areas, law and order responsibilities will be vested on the state government. So this is a very unique kind of, either you remove the state government, or you either take over the full responsibility, or you don't take the responsibility at all. Now home ministry is also creating confusion. See, and of late, if you see, after the initial phase of violence, when this bifurcation took place and this balkanization took place, the Kukis grouping in their dominated areas, and Meiteis in their areas of domination, following that kind of segregation, because of the geographical advantage, Kukis are on the hill areas. Because of that geographical advantage, if you see the casualties after the initial phase of violence, casualties were more on the Meitei sides, because the Kukis have that geographical advantage. They are sitting on the top of the hill. So whenever there is any attack from the valley side, it's easy to repel, because the Meitei groups, they need to climb up the hill, whereas the Kukis, they are sitting on the top. So they have that kind of geographical advantage, and because of that, the casualties are more on the this Meitei sides. So which has created a kind of this thing perception that the center is not doing enough to protect the Meiteis, and even the people have started saying that the state government is not able to protect the Meiteis. So, in against this backdrop, what Biren Singh is doing now, he has tried to kill two birds with one stone. First, he, as Subhas has pointed out, he is trying to kind of exonerate himself from the responsibility, saying, "Well, there is, I don't have complete power, so I cannot do anything. I cannot protect you unless and until I get full power. I won't be able to give protection to you." That is virtually he is trying to tell his constituency. That's one. Secondly, in the last, when the fresh escalation, after the fresh escalation of violence that started from September 1, there has been a strong rumor that finally the center might, take that call to change the chief minister. And BJP Northeast in charge, Sambit Patra, was rushed to Manipur, and he met cross section of people, and that further fueled that speculation of leadership change.
No, but Samir,
So
any idea that last evening and this morning, when Biren Singh met the governor, what has transpired in that
yeah,
meeting?
I'm
Because
coming to that. I'm coming
you
to that.
MLAs also along with him. Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. After that kind of speculation sparked, now he has kind of put the blame on the center, and basically trying to say that the central forces are not doing enough. So amidst this kind of allegation, even the Meitei umbrella group of civil society organizations, Kokomi, has put Syria this thing has alleged that security forces are not protecting Meiteis, they are taking partition views. Basically, Biren Singh has endorsed their views by demanding that this unified command's responsibility be vested on him. So he has basically endorsed that theory that central security forces are partitioned. So amidst this, if the president rule is imposed, it kind of it will send a message that the center is siding with the Kuki. So he is also counter this thing, he it's a counter move against the center also, any possible proactive step by the center. So there is he is trying to serve two purpose with this kind of maneuvering. But in as far as what transpired in today's meeting, nothing, we have no much information except that he has demanded that ceasefire, suspension of operations against the Kuki rebel militants, which is in place since 2008.
But what is the possibility you see that he might be removed? Now, the fact that Sambit Patra was there, some kind of a political development seemed to have been taking place. So do you think that uh, he is there a possibility that he might be removed by the center?
I don't think immediately that is possible, because as he a kind of a perception has again been created that blame is now on the center, particularly from the Meitei side. The blame is heaped on the center, and in this kind of situation, if the center, I don't think center will take the responsibility on him, because once president rule is imposed, the entire responsibility will be on the center to maintain the law and order. Now the center is also playing a very safe game now. It's a kind of this thing, basically nobody is trying to own this trouble. That in Manipur, that is the problem. The center is it is also not willing to burn its finger by imposing president rule and take over the entire responsibility. Hmm. So otherwise, ideally, this kind of arrangement 355 and all in this kind of situation doesn't work. Ideally, the assembly could have been put under suspension, suspended animation, and then the governor could take charge, and for 6 months a kind of this they could have tried with that kind of arrangement for at least 6 months to see whether the
Absolutely.
situation improves or not. But I
Right.
don't see right now anything of that sorts is happening in Manipur.
All right. Now, coming to the federal structure, Professor Mao, I'll come. I'll ask you on this. That does it not go to show that there is a complete breakdown of the federal structure? You have a BJP government at the center. You have a BJP government in the state. You have your own governor over there, and then also, if this law and order is in a complete mayhem, what does it really show? I mean, are the different wings of the government at variance? How would you really read this situation as far as the complete breakdown of the federal structure here is concerned?
Well, it is not in the strict sense, not a federal structure. As per the Indian Constitution, it is the union of India and the state, but very often it is been mentioned as the central government, and the so-called Union of India tends to have all the power. But in this regard, since Chief Minister's community itself is involved in the conflict, I think fairness and justice demand that there should be a president's rule. Unless president's rule is imposed, I think there will never be any fairness. And that is the reason why Chief Minister himself is constantly demanding that unified command should be given to him. Unless that is given to him, he has threatened to even resign. But I think he is very much partisan, and therefore that will further complicate. And then, of course, with the conflict, it has its own momentum to end unless some sort of equation is reached. I don't think the conflict will end immediately. It will have its own natural end. But if the power of the central forces are so powerful, then that can overwhelm the warring parties. So that possibility is there. Otherwise, for the long-term solution, I think some kind of fairness at the structure level should be there. And then right now, and I think for a long time to come, the Kuki and the Zobi and Mar people, unless some kind of alternative arrangement is there, they can never ever come back to Imphal. That is a very practical thing. And likewise, even with the Nagas also, unless the structural fairness is there, there is festering or persistent resentment from the Nagas also, because even going by the annual budget allocation, if we examine carefully, most of the time it is very much in favor of the Valley people. And not only that, but even the MLA representation itself, going by the number of voters, the Valley has a few voters, whereas they have many more MLAs proportionately and in ratio. So unless even this is also addressed, I think more problem will be coming up. So problems are just in potentiality, so it can explode again. So I think any wise statesman, any true statesman in the true sense of the term, will address both long-term, middle-term, and even short-term. Of course, short-term will be that the central government has to have their forces, and then even the drone. The government has to make sure that should be sent to the forensic as early as possible from where the drones have come, so that they can determine and act as part of the even foreign policy by the government of India. So this is what I feel in different terms. Unless we address problem is going to persist. And side by side, even in Burma, as per my information, there are some rifle together with the even Kuki militant are also fighting against the NAC and IM. So that way, it is a very complex sort of issue, and it is in the making. It is under preparation for even further conflagration. Therefore, the serious meaning people, including the media, should create a good opinion so that these politicians are compelled to act what is really good in the larger interest of the people and the nation. So that should be, I think, the goal.
Right. So, Has, but what I don't understand is that if there are drone attacks, if there are drone bombs being used, if there are rocket bombs being used, now is this not a national security issue which the government is trying to recognize at the central level? Now, you have neighboring countries. Bangladesh is already on the boil. You have so many elements. I mean, people from Myanmar. Now, China, anybody could be there. Why is government unable to recognize this problem, and how on earth did these drone attacks and rocket bomb attacks take place, and the government was caught unaware? They didn't know.
I think, I mean, the government knows that these are the possibilities. Any intelligence person who is gathering information knows very well that, across the border, after 78 years since independence. The government of Myanmar has collapsed for the first time, and there is no government there. And the insurgents there are so powerful that they have been able to overrun the government, the Burmese military. So it basically means there is access to enormous amount of sophisticated arms, ammunitions, drones. In Rakhine province, in fact, even anti-aircraft guns were used. So those will not take time to cross this side of the borders because everybody needs them. So the government of India, I think, at the level of the intelligence gathering, I'm quite sure they know about it. I think where the government of India is stuck is at this point of time is uh, the they view, I mean, there are two views into it. One view, they believe that it is the BJP Congress politics, so they see from the prison of electoral gains. So, for example, even though situation is very dire at this point of time and would require immediate attention, they will not take any action till elections in Haryana are over. So, I mean, you can be sure that, Biren Singh is going to stay there till the elections which takes place in Haryana, because if Biren Singh resigns, then it will be used by the Congress party. So the national security has been held hostage to this political developments. So that's one part of the story. The second part of the story is, I think, a number of analysts, they believe that northeast may though all these things continue to happen, and earlier also there were conflicts between the Nagas and the Kukis, and there were many other conflicts in Assam and etc. People get tired and they will resolve on their own, but every conflict need not be the same, and the situation changes completely, because in 1990s, when the Nagas and the Kukis were in conflict, you had the government of Myanmar as your partner, and you are involved in counterinsurgency operations. Both the governments working together. Today, Myanmar government is no longer in a position to do that. So that's why you have to take that into account. And the second thing is, I mean, people getting tired. If you do not have any space for this kind of conflicts to go on, then of course you get tired. For example, if you have riots in Bodoland, you cannot go anywhere. But if you today have the conflicts in Manipur, because of the topography, everything changes. I think what we are seeing is the history repeating itself. In 1970s, when the Akalidal came to power, Congress party, it was basically Jail Singh and Sonjay Gandhi who supported, Janel Singh Bindranwale, and we had a massive problem in Punjab. You read today the Bedmarwa's book on civil war, you will see where he writes, because he was head of the SSB, that the SSB had trained the Bodo militants in the beginning so that they could counter the AGP which had come to power for the first time. They do not know how they would, react. The AGP coming to power in 86 after the 1985 agreement. So you see the history repeating itself, and I think, I mean, we'll come back to the show, and the central government is making serious mistakes. They are not reading the situation in Bangladesh. Nobody had predicted before 5th of August that Hasina was going to fall. Nobody had predicted Soviet Union was going to fall. Nobody could have ever imagined that the Burmese government would be overrun. But all these changes have taken place in your presence, in our lifetime, in our eyes, and still, if the center is held
Absolutely.
hostage, it's unfortunate, extremely unfortunate.
No, but it's hard to believe that the center doesn't recognize all these exigencies which are taking place all around the country. But what I don't understand, Samir, and I'd like you to explain, and then I'll take the concluding comments from Professor Mao. That Samir, is the central government very helpless at the hands of N. Biren Singh? Because time and again he keeps flexing muscles. He'll ask his MLAs also to come along and he'll visit the Raj Bhavan. Time to time, what does he do? What does this exercise by Biren Singh actually show? And he does this quite on and off. And now, after this latest cycle of violence, he's again done it. He met the governor yesterday. He met him this morning, and then again accompanied by his MLAs. What is the message, and what actually is he achieving by doing this?
No, see, it won't be fair to blame entirely on Biren Singh. See, it's no, even if he is trying to, muscle flex and all, it's that shouldn't prevent the center to act. See, basically, center is not serious, and let me tell it very bluntly. that a few Kukis and Meiteis dying in Manipur, it doesn't matter to the center. Had it been in say in heartland, had this kind of conflict been happening in heartland states like Uttar Pradesh or Gujarat, would the center be such a nonchalant about it? I don't think so. See, it's not affecting India's economy. It's not affecting, this. It's not disrupting communication. Nothing. So, as Subhas pointed
But
out, when
does it not
Bodoland was
recognize the challenge? No, but does it not recognize the challenge of it being a border state? There are neighboring countries. It can result into a huge security problem, a national security problem.
Yes, it can, but I don't think we don't see center is actually looking into that kind of larger picture. They are more but it's a kind of a very myopic approach which the government has taken so far. And they are completely missing the larger picture. And even if we don't go to the geopolitical implication, see, Bangladesh, what has happened in Bangladesh, that can be replicated in Manipur itself, because recently a group of youths, and they have get together through social media and all these things, similar to that of Bangladesh. And a few days ago they held a press conference in Imphal saying that they are also trying to start a mass mobilization against what is happening. So there could be the bigger agitation, mass agitation in Manipur. And if that happened, situation might go completely out of hand. Before that happened, the center should intervene and try to take some proactive steps. But so far, as I said, we don't see any interest on the part of the center. They are, this kind of situation, or arrangement, rather, this kind of arrangement, I'll say, is suiting their purpose. Enter, some people are blaming the BJP at the state, some are blaming the BJP at the center, and at the end of the day they can say, okay, like in Manipur, this kind of good cop, bad cop kind of game is going on. Good government, bad government. In Manipur, the perception is that, okay, Biren Singh is good, but the center is not doing doing enough. So BJP is hoping that when this election comes, and election is to be held in 2027, so there is still time for election. So they have time. So they are also not in hurry to solve this problem, because, as you know, the BJP, they look everything from the electoral lens. So since election is now years away, so they are not bothered. And they are also hoping that this kind of arrangements will suit them during the when ultimately the state will go to assembly election. Like people will say, okay, Biren is good, so let's support him. And the central government, as it happened in the last parliamentary election, the central leader didn't bother to go to campaign in Manipur. They left entirely everything to Biren Singh. So this kind of arrangement, they are hoping at least will suit their purpose, but I don't think so, because 2024 election results should have been an warning signal for them. The way the Congress owned both the seats in the valley and the hills. So the center is basically not showing any willingness to act. Even well, you see that this is, in this situation, neither they are acting against Biren Singh government. On the other hand, there is also demand for the this thing, abrogation of the ceasefire agreement with the Kuki militants. There also they are not doing anything. And as you know, this unrest, now there are multiple dimensions to this unrest, and we are hearing that whenever attempts have been made to broker peace, it is the militant groups from both the sides. Meitei Malay armed groups and the Kuki arms group are actually stonewalling those peace processes. Professor Mao must be aware that 2 months back, similar attempt was made in Shillong. So some non-government organizations, they had initiated these peace talks between the warring communities, and the Naga groups were also present there. But immediately this thing immediately after the militant these armed groups, they came to know about this kind of peace attempts. They threatened their respective community members against initiating any such kind of truce effort. So but we are not seeing even there are 50,000 deployment of 50,000 central forces, and yet there are drone attacks taking place. Projectiles being fired. So what are the central armed forces are actually doing there? That is also a big question mark. Where are these arms coming from? So there are so many questions which are unanswered, and so unless and until these issues are addressed, I don't think there are going to be peace very soon in the state.
All right. All right. So I'll come to for the concluding remarks to Professor Mao. So now there are layers and layers of problems which are enmeshed into one another. But do you think that there is a lack of political will on both sides, as far as the center is concerned, as far as the state is concerned? Both are trying to, make a political situation out of it. And apparently they are looking for a political brownie point, maybe. And the state is becoming a casualty because of this.
Hi, yes, definitely. There is no strong political will is there, and that is adding to the problem. And then even if peace committee is made, it has to be made a very comprehensive one. For example, between the Meitei and the Mar people in the Jiribam area, it was a reconciliation kind of a committee. They're not aware. Therefore, those who are making, they should make a very comprehensive kind of a consultation. Without that, it will be just a temporary. So in the same way, I feel the central government is not at all strong. And they are very much overprotective of their own party. Since their own party is now declining, therefore they are eager to save their own party. But if they're really concerned for the peace and long-lasting solution, the center should be very, very strong. And in fact, President's rule should have been there. And then the central command should be able to operate in a much more effective way, like combined operation, preventive action, etc. Then, along with that, other peace process can start. Without that, I don't think from time to time there will be sporadic incidents will be there.
So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold in Manipur. But as of now, things look very, very serious.
I'll just want to make one point.
Yes.
Yeah, like as Professor Mao has said about Jiribam. See, Jiribam was a perfect example that peace. If you see in the Jiribam, there were no violence till 2-3 months ago, and Kukis and Meiteis were living peacefully together there. But immediately after the election results came, some vested interest groups instigated violence there, and since then the Jiribam also is also start boiling. So which shows that without the interference, political as well as this interference from the armed groups, if they don't interfere, people can actually live peacefully. And Jiribam, the Kukis and Metis had shown that they could live peacefully together, even when there were violence in other parts of the state. uh, this Jiribam was oasis of peace. So so there are, so many players here who are actually not interested that peace is restored in the state.
All right, so we'll have to wait and watch, and we'll keep a close eye on what's happening in Manipur. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Professor Mao, Suhas, Samir. It was wonderful having all of you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.